I'm just picturing like, hey, dude, how much will you give me for this Roadrunner? Like these, like they are desperate.
They took Roadrunner.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it said they took Roadrunner.
no, I meant the actual bird, bro, not the.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking Jack, I'm going to cut it to five.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ville Chillin podcast. Today, we're talking about Kentucky Kingdom. Kentucky's pretty much what I think, is it like the only amusement park in Kentucky, or it's at least the biggest?
It's the only one worth doing a show about.
That's
Definitely.
true. That's true.
I think there's a couple others, but they're like smaller ones.
Yeah, I knew it was the biggest. There's also a lot of history around it, really, between, from its start and then being sold and then closing down and then being bought again and reopened. It's been a wild ride to live through the whole thing.
Kind of grew up with it, didn't we?
Pretty much, yeah. And it is kind of a highlight of my childhood, at least. I was homeschooled. They used to do like specific homeschool days where like literally just a ton of homeschool kids would get in like cheap.
Nice. So like that's where like homeschool kids like would have field trips type.
Not the only place, because we used to do like the
That or
science
the
center,
library. Okay, that or the library.
But it was still fun, and it made it easier for my mom to be able to take me. And then I had three younger sisters. So when you're trying to take that many kids, it's expensive.
Just get a couple season passes and y'all good to go.
Well, even then, that's still more expensive than it would cost, like with the discount for those special days.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and it's not like we could go that often anyways. You still got to consider you pay for food and everything else, which costs a ton of money when you have that many people going. But
dude, one of my first memories there, I almost drowned.
That's probably not a good first memory, but
well, no,
was
like,
it in the no, was it before were you going before they had the water park?
No, yeah, it was Hurricane Bay, dude. I was like probably like 4.
The wave pool.
Yeah, and like sis was there. Like she was watching me. She was probably like, I guess like 12 at the time, 13 maybe. And she had like the little raft or whatever. So I was like chilling in the raft. I was a little kid, and I kick her accidentally, like because the waves are going. And then she like loses me, and I'm like just
shit
in it, bro. Like, and then like I just get in like a random raft, I guess, and like these kids, they were like, we don't know where this kid came from, so they find a lifeguard, and she starts asking me like questions about my sister, like what she looks like, and I'm like, I don't know, she's got hair. Like I'm 4, I don't know how to say words for real. But I did not drown.
Oh no, dude, that's the worst part about the wave pool is all of the rafts and the floats and stuff. I don't even think they should be loud, dude, because I've had some wild times where you just get bumped around all over the place.
No, dude, if you die, you die. Like that's
it's horrible. I don't like it.
They don't even stop the waves, dude. They just keep them going, dude. They're like, it's time limit. Like you got 5 more minutes.
We'll find you in 10. Oh man,
dude, they used to have this really awesome pizza.
Papa John's?
Nah, dude, it was like in-house. I don't even know. Like, it was just really good. And the cool thing is, like, I would tell people it was free with a pass. So you would just go up there and get it, and you wouldn't even have to take it to the register.
I don't think that's true, but I mean,
no, we did that.
It happened.
Great year, dude.
Oh man. I'm sure a lot of that kind of stuff goes down at the Kingdom, dude. It is fun though, and they do have quite a lot. Well, as we're about to get into, their first year they didn't have quite that much to offer, so that led to some issues with their start. So it's currently a 67-acre park. But when it first started, the first plans came out in 1977. That's when the State Fair Board announced plans to build a theme park. And the park's construction didn't actually start until 1986, and it cost $12 million when they first built it. Came open to the public on May 23rd, 1987. They went bankrupt after one season due to loan payment challenges. That's crazy to me.
It was a rough first year.
Yeah. They just went straight bankrupt. And apparently a big part of it was weather. They tried to say that like weather had a lot to do with it, and then visitors complained about long lines, and they believed it was kind of too small. And that's because it was only a 13-acre park at the time.
You could throw a rock at the entrance and hit the exit.
Pretty much, dude.
Other side of
It's like, did you ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon? It's like the first
Yes.
park you get to start with. It's like you can build like 2 rides here. That's all you get.
race cars.
Yeah, and now it's, triple the size, quadruple the size, so, or more. They've definitely done a lot to expand on it, but it is crazy to think that back then it was 13 acres. So when it did open up, it says about 400 people were in attendance at the opening ceremony, and the park had 4 themed areas called Carousel Plaza, Old Louisville, ironic, Kentucky Frontier, and the Enchanted Forest. There was a children's area, so the Enchanted Forest was a children's area, which would later become King Louie's Playland. And that was another thing that kind of led to, not just was it small and, long lines and everything, but a lot of people felt that it was pretty much just oriented towards children. It wasn't really much for adults to do. So it was more just like a kids theme park instead of a true amusement park.
They didn't even have alcohol back then, dude. And that's why they closed that first year.
Oh man, most of the contractors and vendors were unpaid, and almost all of the rides were auctioned off to other parks in 1989, because that first season was just that bad in 87. However, once Ed Hart bought it, who until just the last few years, just a few years ago, he owned it a second time for many years.
2 times.
A local businessman who had renovated 2 buildings in Louisville's Highlands neighborhood. And after it closed, he was contacted by a bank who offered to be the senior lender if he reopened the park. He initially said no because of how bad it kind of failed in its initial year. But he decided to go ahead and open it up. The first step, he paid all the vendors and contractors that were unpaid before, which is pretty awesome. I don't know if he had to do that,
Right. Usually I would think like people that kind of take that kind of stuff over, sometimes what they're doing is their first step is to kind of fight that, see if they can pill it so that they can put those funds towards something else. But
Yeah.
he started out, like you said, doing the right thing.
Yep. And then in 1989, the new operators decided to exercise an option of the deal with the fair board to lease an additional 13 acres so the park could be expanded. So that's still a fraction of what it is today. But at least it was a step in the right direction to draw in more crowds. So they reopened in 1990 on June 13th with an estimated 2,000 people visiting the park on the first day. So all the rides from 87 were sold. The Star Chaser indoor roller coaster remained on site at the amusement park, apparently allowing Hart to repurchase and reclaim it. He also added a bunch of new rides during that whole process, and just kept building it. I mean, he built it up pretty good. In 1990, that's when they announced the plans to build the water park, projected to open by 91 or 92. So open in 92 with a separate admission of $4 to $6. At least that was the plan. Hurricane Bay, however, it opened in 92 as an extension of the Kentucky Kingdom Amusement Park with no separate admission fee required for entry, which is pretty good. So, I mean, I could see a lot of people getting a little angry if they had to pay extra money just to get in.
Well, and it solves that problem of extra lines, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I guess originally when it first opened, there was a lot of lines, not a lot of room. They expand the room, and then by having, like a water park, nobody's waiting in line. They're kind of cooling off in between the lines, dying down, and things like that. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Like, to reference the roller coaster tycoon, like all the guests are happier type stuff. So they're spending more money and.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh man. In 92 they also added the Ferris wheel, 150-foot tall Ferris wheel. In 93 a new water slide complex opened featuring 4 different slides, and in 94 the park opened Mile High Falls, which upon its opening was the world's tallest shoot the chute water ride. What is shoot the chute? I guess where you just okay.
They had that ride on Roller Coaster Tycoon too.
They did. This is all around the time of Roller Coaster Tycoon coming out. So,
well, it was the '90s, dude, when they was hyped over a Ferris wheel.
oh yeah,
Like they were like, nah, it's not just any Ferris wheel. It's giant.
it's the giant wheel, dude. My fondest memory of a ride too was added in '94. The roller skater, which they still have, and it was the first roller coaster I ever rode on. Now I know it's slow, but when you're, 5, 6, however old I was,
right, you put your hands up, dude. You're like,
it got you. Oh man, yeah. I kept including more and more roller coasters, rides, expanding. It in '97 is when they added Chang, which was, I think it was it was the set the world record stand-up roller coaster in height, drop, length, speed, and amount of inversions. So Chang set several world records for a stand-up coaster. And that was part of the thrill of it too, was the fact that it was a stand-up coaster. All in all, while Ed Hart owned it during that first stint at least, from the 1990 to the 1998 seasons, it was considered one of America's fastest growing amusement parks. He increased attendance from 130,000 guests during 1990 season to 1.2 million guests over the 1997 season. That's a big increase. I mean, that's literally 10 times, almost 10 times the.
That's crazy to go from like a bankruptcy to 10x in the business. Like that's some major turnaround.
And I mean, honestly, he probably wouldn't have even sold it, except the bank that had given the initial loan went through a couple of acquisitions, and the mother company, the mother bank or whatever, even though they had never missed a payment, they called the loan, forcing Hart to either raise more capital or sell the park's operating rights. So September 26th of 1997, the rights to operate Kentucky Kingdom were sold to Premier Parks for $64 million. That's a lot. Premier Parks agreed to continue opening new attractions at the park through at least 1999. And at that time, Kentucky Kingdom was one of the most popular tourism attractions in Louisville, receiving more visitors than Churchill Downs. That's pretty crazy. I mean, the Derby does good for Churchill Downs. I don't know what the rest of their attendance is like, the rest of the year, but either way, that's a big accomplishment. During the off season, Premier Parks acquired Six Flags from Time Warner, and as such, on June 21st, 1998, the park reopened as Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom. Which I remember that was a big moment too, like when the news broke that, Six Flags, because, there's so many Six Flags around the country, or there were then. I think we see later it became the 9th Six Flags location. Yeah, it became the 9th amusement park to use the Six Flags name, which I really enjoyed it at the time, because, at that time I was still, 8 years old, and it was all Looney Tunes. And anybody who has watched the show probably knows I'm a fan of Looney Tunes.
The one episode where you don't have your Bugs Bunny hat
I know. I wasn't thinking.
It definitely brought some life to Kentucky Kingdom once they Six Flags took it over, whatever it felt like, with all the cartoon characters and stuff like that. That there was a lot more interaction, a lot more shows and things like that. So
Yeah, it was. It just made it more fun. It made it more themed. You know, it's like just like Disney. It's all themed. Everything, every park at Disney is themed. So it felt almost brushing that line. You know what I mean?
yeah, not quite Disney, but close.
It was
Space Jam,
Louisville's Disney.
you know? Yeah.
It was Space Jam. Exactly. Oh man, I remember when they changed King Louie's Playground into Looney Tunes Movie Town too, and like when they added the Roadrunner ride.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Oh yeah, that little roller coaster. Yeah, that one had some sharp turns. Yeah,
The other kiddie coaster.
it was cool because, like you said, I was close to the same age you was. I was probably like 8, 9, and then my nephew Jonathan. I think he was probably like 3. You know, maybe 3 if that or whatever. So some of those rides were like kind of perfect for him or whatever, but I'd still get to kind of enjoy them or whatever, even though I was a little bit older.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, of course, at that time, at that age, I really liked it. Yeah, the Roadrunner Express came out in 2000. So, and the Penguins Blizzard River opened in 1999. Was that like the Lazy River?
Yeah, Batman thing.
What they called it, yeah. Yeah, it was fun. I have plenty of very fond memories, I think. And then in 2009, they removed Chang as well for the addition of Bonsai Beach. So they expanded the water park. Chang ended up going to New Jersey. Yeah, Jackson, New Jersey. Where it reopened in 2011 as Green Lantern. So, if you want to experience Chang and you never did, just go to New Jersey after you come to Louisville. Six Flags in 2010 ended up ceasing operations because essentially they went bankrupt that year. You can check out the Six Flags Wikipedia for more information there, but they completely went bankrupt, filed Chapter 11, and they managed to stick around as a company. They still operate parks, but it took a lot of work over a couple of years, from my understanding. We didn't look too much into that, but it was kind of interesting. However, of course, when they decided to cease operations, the State Fair Board, they got into talks, I guess, to figure out how to keep as much of it as they could. They even apparently used some money from Ed Hart to purchase Six Flags' 20-acre stake in the park. So while Six Flags ended up removing, all the Looney Tunes and DC Comics related stuff, the State Fair Board did get to keep a lot of the stuff, including offices, furniture, fixtures, that kind of stuff, and of course other property rights.
I'm just picturing like, hey, dude, how much will you give me for this Roadrunner? Like these, like they are desperate.
They took Roadrunner.
Oh,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it said they took Roadrunner.
No, I meant the actual bird, bro, not the.
Look. It does say they were
here scrapping the rides and stuff, dude.
Well, part of the
Copper
settlement
was worth a lot more back in 2010.
Part of the settlement was Six Flags receiving a ride of their choice, and they chose Roadrunner Express. So
the thing is, though, like one cool thing about whenever Six Flags did take over Kentucky Kingdom, that early 2000s kind of time frame, that was when OVW was partnered with WWE.
Was it?
So what was happening is they partnered with Six Flags, where they would have wrestling shows like 2 or 3 times during the summer. So, and what it was, any wrestler before they would get big and, switch over from OVW to WWE. So you got John Cena, right? What they would do is they would have like some kind of build up and then finish it at Six Flags against one of the WWE wrestlers who are like rehabbing usually. So like say like the Big Show, like he messed up like his leg or something. Then they brought him back. They brought him down here to get it better, get him back in like in ring shape, and then he wrestles like Batista to get Batista over. And then
gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
like you have a big name and a small name who's ready to become a big name,
Yeah.
and they just pair them up at Kentucky Kingdom. That makes sense, dude. I wonder if OVW, I mean, you know, they've been doing a lot, not to go off topic, but they've been doing a lot to, you know, spread the name and like partner with different places. They did the thing during the Derby Festival. I wonder if they'll end up doing anything at Kentucky Kingdom in coming years.
oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that would help both definitely.
Get back to that, yeah.
Because I mean, they're selling out now. Like at the Davis Arena, like they're on Old Shep, their
Yep.
tickets are sold out as soon as they put them up. There, at least they're with that open area, they'd be able to get more people in there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like I said, they did the thing at the Derby Festival this year. So, and you know, you got to see the show as long as you were on the waterfront when at the time of it. So it's not like it's gonna cost extra. It's so pretty cool.
We always manage to talk about wrestling.
Somehow we do. Oh man! So after the 2010 or the 2009 season, with everything happening with Six Flags, a lot of companies actually approached the Fair Board apparently with offers to reopen. They by May of 2010, they said it would remain closed for the year, hoping for a 2011 reopening date. That same month, Ed Hart, along with several other investors, formed the Kentucky Kingdom Redevelopment Company, and their aim was to reopen the park by Memorial Day weekend the year after funding and their plans were approved. However, after 16 months trying to get funding approved, they announced on September 30th, 2011, that the Fair Board had ended negotiations and that their company would no longer take part in reopening the park. So, yeah,
Womp womp.
yeah, I know. And it's crazy because, you know, it was Ed Hart again. You know, they knew he could do it. He did it once. In 2012, the owners of Holiday World announced they were involved in talks, and they released some media saying they were in the fact-finding stage. Ultimately, it didn't happen, though. They were trying to negotiate, and it seems like it just fell through for some reason.
They was trying to buy out the competition, bro.
Yeah, that's true, and it's funny you say that because where is it? Former operator Ed Hart, before his return several months later, criticized the Cook family, who owns Holiday World, for using Kentucky Kingdom as an opportunity to help Holiday World continue to thrive without nearby competition to possibly harm its business. Yeah, it's because they kept it in talks for like a couple years before it was decided that nope, it's not reopening. So it kind of just wasted time.
I guess what is he kind of saying? Like what it did was create a scenario where any potential investors or buyers weren't looking at it because they didn't think they could compete with somebody who's already in that market.
Well, that, and since they owned Holiday World's like the only theme park, amusement park within those few hours of here. So anybody here is just having to go to Holiday World, and you know, there's no
Indiana,
competition.
they don't do
Yeah. Yeah, there was no competition. So almost like creating a monopoly.
Where's the Beast? Which one's
That's at Kings Island.
Kings Island? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the next furthest major one.
Yep. So ultimately,
You hear about that person got run over by the Beast?
no, that doesn't sound. Are you being serious?
No, for real, bro.
I didn't hear that. No,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
R.I.P. Probably.
That's crazy. Oh man. So Ed Hart actually, they announced in August 2012 that they would begin work to reopen the park in 2014. Hart said the company planned to invest $120 million, using $50 million to reopen the park and investing another $70 over the term of the lease. All rides were slated to reopen with the exception of Grease Lightning, which was too costly to repair and reopen.
Man, Grease Lightning stayed broken. It was broken more than it was working.
Well, and that's probably what it's about. Plus, you know, you got to think all those rides sat there for a few years just exposed to the elements. They weren't getting maintenance. They weren't getting worked on. So those are some big things to just leave out in the elements like that without any kind of proper maintenance.
They made those before climate change existed.
The company also plans to add $15 million roller coaster, install 3 new rides, and double the size of the Hurricane Bay water park. So obviously, it's Hurricane Bay has been kind of this central attraction, but it always is at a lot of amusement parks now. You know, a lot of people don't have easy access to a pool, and then especially when you add all the fun rides, you know, it just makes it even better than like a public pool or something.
Fun fact, they have the highest water bill in the city.
I believe that. I believe the water company loves the summer months when Kentucky Kingdom's open. Oh man, but it's really cool to me that the original guy who ended up, you know, bringing it to the success that it was at after such a failed first year, came right back and kind of did it again. Because from 2012, 2013 or whatever, he's kind of been in charge of it, it seems, until recently, 2021, I think, is when it got sold to the company who currently owns it. So hopefully they keep it going. I mean, there's a lot here about everything he's done in recent years. After the first month of operation in 2014, over 100,000 season passes were sold, and by the end of the season, 600,000 guests had visited the park. So still not quite up to the 1.2 million it had in '97, but still climbing and getting there. And that was just its first year of being reopened.
You know, a lot of people I talked to, they didn't even know it was open those first couple years.
Exactly. Like a lot of people just don't keep up on it. So now that people know, I'm sure the numbers are up even more.
Yeah, my brother's there like every day.
I don't see any revised numbers for visitors, but I would kind of like to. Of course, they weren't open, or they delayed their opening for 2020 season, of course, because of COVID. I'm sure, I bet that threw a wrench in a lot of the plans, though. I didn't even think about like COVID's impact. Like it impacted everybody individually anyways. I can't imagine how it would have impacted like amusement parks. That might be why he decided to sell it. He probably lost money during that time, but
there's probably like a month where everybody was just seated like every other spot or something with masks.
For sure. It's hard to go, stay separated 6 feet when you're having to sit next to somebody.
I'm just picturing like masks flying, hitting people in the head.
Oh, 100%. I'm sure a lot of man, can you imagine? And then if you don't have a mask because you lost it, do you get kicked out? Like, oh God, sounds horrible. So yeah, in 2021, there was a press conference attended by Andy Bashir, Greg Fisher, Ed Hart to formally announce that Herschend Family Entertainment would become the new majority partner and operator of Kentucky Kingdom. And the longtime former president of Dollywood, Craig Ross, was appointed as the general manager. Pretty awesome. They still have a ton of rides. You can see their full list of rides here. Something I think is cool is the gardens. The park's horticulture department has a year-round greenhouse that grows more than 20 cultivars of annuals, more than 100 different species of perennials and ornamental grasses, and various coniferous and deciduous trees.
Bless you.
In 2016, the park introduced plant labels, which provided the plant names and a QR code that would give more information about the plants, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, because if they didn't do that, dude, I'd just be over here like trying to use that feature on your phone, and it's just going to say they're all like daffodils or some shit.
Probably. But they got plenty of restaurants and everything. So back in 2006, Six Flags and Papa John's had a marketing alliance. I don't know if they still have Papa John's in there. But
I wonder if the pizza's still free with the membership.
I don't know. You can call and ask them.
No, I just assume it is.
Oh, man. So they do have, speaking of the flower stuff, though, they do have some interesting events happening this year. One thing that's currently going on that ends soon is the Pedal Palooza. It's new for this year. I'm sure they'll bring it back. But it says experience color and motion as we celebrate the transition from spring to summertime in Louisville. Kentucky Kingdom's Pedal Palooza Festival commemorates the boldness of color with a larger-than-life mosaic culture and live flower walls and special events including a floral frenzy 5K race. So
That sounds like something to, eat some mushroom pizza before you go, like.
Yeah, I'm sure it's quite the sight. Mosaic culture and live flower walls sounds pretty interesting. 7-4 to 7-6, they have the red, white, and bluegrass bash, whatever going on there. They got daily fireworks those days and different kinds of food, apparently. And then something that I find pretty interesting is they're opening up during December and like very late November through December and very early January for Christmas at Kentucky Kingdom. So they're going to have all kinds of lights and different decorations and a 175-foot long snow tubing hill featuring real snow, it says. So it looks pretty crazy. Of course, this is the first time doing it, so I'm guessing these pictures are like just photoshopped or AI or something. Who knows? But Rudolph is going to be there, apparently.
All rights reserved.
Yeah.
Under Licensed Character Arts, LLC, all rights reserved.
The Abominable Snowman. Oh, no, Bumble the Abominable Snowman. It's going to be there. So we're going to have family photo stuff, holiday cookies. You can decorate holiday cookies, apparently, and see a special version of the reindeer movie in the 5D cinema, apparently.
5D, that means there's wind.
Exactly. Oh, man. And then, yeah, the snow tubing. Seems pretty interesting, pretty crazy. It'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. And how many people really go, because I, for one, am not for the cold. I stay inside when it's cold out. And they're adding snow special just for the snow tubing, and I avoid snow every chance I get. So
maybe the snow will be inside.
I think it would just melt. Can you imagine trying to have like a heated snow tubing thing? Like, you'll be warm. No, you won't. It's cold. Oh, man. But, yeah, with Kentucky Kingdom having such the history that it does, being around for most of our lives, well, pretty much our whole life, and just the story around it and being such a central part to a lot of people's summer here in Louisville, we thought it was about time we talked about them. So, you got anything you want to add before we close it out?
Nah, just nope.
Yeah, so I guess with that, check out the upcoming events. I know around Halloween, they do a pumpkin Halloween themed few days. And yeah, if you're thinking about coming into the city, give them a try. And with that, we will see you all
next
later.
time.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm going to cut it to 5.